So that shiny new game just came out, Atomfall, and you want to know if it's worth your time, right? Let's take a look at the game first and first impressions. Keep in mind this is not a full review, this is a quick look at the game. Everything I'll be talking about happened within 3 hours of starting the game, so I'll show some footage of the game while describing it and giving a few thoughts on it. The game begins with your character waking up in a bunker, and he has no idea how he got there. It's even more confusing because your character wakes up in a sealed bunker inside of a quarantine zone, so it seems your character has amnesia or something like that. When you talk to people in the game, you're usually given a few dialogue options. You could respond with helpful replies, blunt replies, curious replies, and so on. The first thing that I did was find supplies for a bandage and help out the scientist guy in the bunker that you wake up with. Though I'm pretty sure you could also just kill him if you wanted to. That's something I noticed throughout the game. So far, everyone I've come across, I could aim my gun at and then they'd start getting defensive as if they'd attack me if I didn't stop. That makes me believe that you can kill most people in the game, but I didn't do that, so I don't know for sure because I played it nice with the other characters. As for looting in this game, you'll come across things like scraps, glass, bottles, cloth, alcohol, and small stuff like that. That's the most common items, and all of those have a limit to how much you can carry. There's no weight limit, just a limit of specific items. So I could carry 20 shotgun shells, but not anymore. Or I can carry 20 cloth, but no more than that. There's a few other items that you can find though, like herbs, poison, antidotes, and things of that nature. You can craft with the items that you find, but to begin with, you can only craft bandages. You have to either find or purchase the other crafting recipes. By the time I got off the game, I had various grenade recipes that I could craft. As for weapons, I mostly got those from people that I killed, as well as looting. There's various melee weapons, all of which have different damage and attack speeds, and there's various guns, also with different damages and accuracy. The melee weapons you can also throw at enemies too, and you can kick as well. The kick is most useful when you're dealing with swarm-like creatures, such as rats, bats, and those types. And the swarm creatures are very annoying to deal with too. So far, I've used these guns: revolver, pistol, shotgun, SMG, automatic rifle, sniper rifle, and hunting rifle. If you get a headshot on an enemy, they usually die in a single shot, but the body shots could take 2 to 4 hits or even more, depending on the gun and distance. You can sneak up on enemies and kill them from behind, but I didn't do that too many times. I mostly just gunned them down. I did use a bow once too, but that wasn't killing that quick, so I just stopped using that. The enemies I've fought so far are various swarm creatures, outlaws, druids, and then some weird blue mutant creature. Those blue creatures are the toughest enemies so far. There's also collectibles that you can find, like comic books and lunchboxes, and those are kind of neat to look at. There's also hidden caches that you can find too, and you have to use a metal detector for that. It will beep when you're nearby a cache, so it's pretty easy to find. In the menus, you'll find the map, and you'll probably be using this pretty often because when you find papers and information in the game, it'll go to your notebook in the investigation tab, and then you can just use the map to find the location referenced in your notebook. There's no mission to follow, there's no waypoints or anything like that. It's all done via investigating and going to those locations on the map yourself. Luckily, you can at least mark on the map so you can follow your own mark. Now, as for the map itself, I'd probably call it medium-sized. I think I'd call all the maps that I've been in so far medium-sized. There's different regions in this game, all of which have their own map. And I've been to, I think, 4 different regions so far, but I've only fully explored the first region, and that took me about 2.5 hours to fully explore. But that's because I went to every corner of the map and killed every single enemy. And there's also a whole lot of other areas in this game, bunkers, caves, and things like that. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, but I think I explored maybe 4 or 5 bunkers in the first map. Then there was a sewers there too, different caves, and yeah, it seems like a lot, but the size of everything is pretty moderate, so it's not too bad. I'm going to be honest here, I only used the investigation menu a couple times to figure out a location on the map. What I mostly did instead was just fully explored the map, and then by doing that, I finished several missions I had just by default. When I finally left the first map and went over to a different area, I again began the slow process of exploring everything, but that's just the way I play games like this. I always want to see it all. I did get off the game while in the beginning stages of exploring the second area that I was in, but that's just because I'd been playing for 3 hours up to that point. It was just time to get off. One other thing in the menus is the skills, which you can use training stimulants that you find to purchase. Most skills are locked by default, but you'll find training manuals when you loot, which will unlock the skills. You still need to purchase the skills though. The skills are things like more melee damage when throwing a melee weapon, loot faster, and so on. I think I bought about 3 or 4 skills in total in the 3 hours that I played. When exploring, you'll sometimes find hidden areas. Well, sorta hidden. They aren't that hidden, but if you're going too fast, you'll miss them. For example, there was a couple cave entrances that I almost walked by because it had hanging vines over it, or there's some small vent areas that you can crawl through, and a few small cracks that you can squeeze through as well. Also be sure to check behind all the waterfalls. There's usually a little bit of loot in these areas, maybe some collectibles or some more information for your notebook. I haven't really talked about the story too much, so let's do that for a moment. There's a few people that you come across who will either talk to you or sell you items, and they'll give you tidbits of information, but I'll leave that for you to hear when you play the game yourself. What I've done so far is make it to an area called the Interchange, which I believe is what leads you to the Atom plant itself, but the Interchange needs needs power. So now I'm running around different maps trying to find power cells to open it up. That's the gist of what I've been doing so far. I think that this game is great, but if you hate walking everywhere on foot, exploring, or looting, then you'll also hate this game because there's a whole lot of that in it. The vibe of this game is pretty nice, the graphics look good, and the gameplay is smooth. I had no issues with the gameplay whatsoever, everything just worked. I don't have anything negative to say about this game at all. It's just a good game, though that's my personal opinion. Whether or not this is your type of game, I'll see you on the next one.